name is Shannon Richmond. I'm an RTF major at the University of Texas, and for our term project, we were supposed to film something that embodied the motto of the University of Texas, which is, "What starts here changes the world." My idea was to film my communication studies professor and a friend of his doing a podcast about communication studies. I thought it would be very interesting and enlightening, and they end up talking about Taco Bell and sports, and, well, here it is.
Oh, hey, Drew. I meant to tell you, we were talking about some stuff in class the other day, and a good kind of team culture article came up, and I thought it might be something that could help you out a little bit in your research.
Yeah, send it to me. It'd be good.
Why don't I just give you the reference? I got it right here.
Just send it to me. I'm doing some other stuff right now, so if you can send it to me.
It'll take 5 seconds. I can just tell you the reference. You can look it up yourself.
If you just send me the PDF or the reference, then I'll just be able to look it up when I need to look it up. I can't do it right now. I'm trying to figure out some other stuff right now. Just trying to get through my lunch hour.
Dude!
What?
You're looking at PhD
Go
comics.
at your desk, man.
That's not even work!
Yeah, I'm cross-referencing what we talked about in class today.
You're not. You're just
we're talking about data and correlation.
Dude, you don't even know what a correlation is.
It's a thing with numbers.
You know, Andy and I started this thing a few months ago, and I think it's really starting to take off. It's called Yakademics. It's basically a podcast about the field of communication. You can call it a podcast. I call it a web radio show. And, you know, we're two doctoral students in the field of communication, and we talk about things in the field and issues that we deal with. You know, it's funny. In our field, we really value print only. But out of all the people, out of all the experts, we're the ones who should best understand that the medium makes a really big difference when you're trying to send a message.
It sounds like the ocean.
It's not that we don't value print. We do value print. We know how important it is, but we want to supplement it to reach different people in different ways at different times. And the cool thing about it is that we get to talk to comp professors along the way. And, you know, I think it's really starting to take off.
I'm just saying that there are certain times I want a message sent to me so I can deal with it later. I mean, would you want your students coming up to you in a second?
It's fine.
And
No, it's fine. It's fine.
emails.
I'll never use my mouth to talk to you again.
Okay.
I'll only use my computer from now on.
Fine.
I'm
Never
so
mind.
sorry to interrupt your hard work looking at PhD comics.
Yeah. Whatever. Forget it.
These tacos are really good. Do you have any more hot sauce? M.
That's supposed to say because they're really good. So I've been working on this grant where I'm trying to figure out how. So I get asked all the time, why academia? Why did I choose this career path? For me, it's one thing. I love to research. I get to research topics that are interesting to me and that I feel are important. Drew asks me all the time, so what? Why? Who are we helping? What are we really doing? For example, I study health communication. And can't the way a doctor describes an illness or a procedure to a patient, can't that impact that patient's life? Hey, look at that. Being a horse.
Whatever.
So that makes him the best just because he's
Yes.
an N of 1.
Yes, he is. So he's the best at it.
It's ridiculous.
So do you want to keep the question about multitasking or the question about cell phones?
Why not ask both? I mean, she knows about both of them, so.
Yeah. We're going to interview Dr. Carrie Stevens here at the University of Texas. She studies communication technology in the workplace, and she publishes like crazy. She'll take the same data set and she'll just slice it every which way. She's kind of like Vince the slap shop guy, when you think about it. But she doesn't have a criminal record. So, does she have a criminal record?
Oh, that's interesting. You should ask that question. Lead off the interview with it.
I'm not going to ask that question.
Ask it.
I just feel like we have to ask the right questions. You know, it's like that's the story of grad school, asking the right questions.
Understandable. Okay, so you're kind of saying let's just go with one of them.
Yeah.
And focus on that. I mean, if we're going to focus on one, we kind of have to do multitasking.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's her thing.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good.
Man.
Hi.
Hi.
Stevens, hi.
How are
Thank you
y'all
very much for
doing?
being with us.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good to see y'all.
So Andy's going to get his voice recorder set up,
Okay,
and it shouldn't take too long.
sounds good.
This is Yakademics with Andrew Isaac and Andy Tollison, the podcast about the field of communication. We're here with Dr. Carrie Stevens from the University of Texas at Austin. She's a professor in organizational communication. Dr. Stevens, thank you for joining us today.
Sure.
So first, if you wouldn't mind telling us a little bit about what you study.
Well, I'm very interested in how people use technology to communicate in organizations, especially at work.
So for my next question, I just want to get in the appropriate position here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are we becoming more of a multitasking culture in general, or is this something that's just becoming maybe more accepted to do in meetings because now we have the technology to do it?
Yeah. Well, I think that a lot of it does have to do with accessibility. The fact that we have them with us, they're on our person all the time, is definitely going to change how often that we're using it. I still see a lot of differences of opinion. Many people say, I'm just not good at it. And then you'll have some people who say, I can't live without it. But the vast majority of people, I don't even think are aware of their own practices. And they don't realize how reliant they have become on these portable devices that are with us everywhere.
The academic publication cycle is anywhere from 12 to 24 months. How does this affect your research on technology?
It's very, very frustrating. And so by the time we get things through the academic cycles, you know, Facebook stuff is only now starting to come out, and Facebook's been out there and been heavily used now for several years. So I think it's a real challenge for the communication research. What a lot of people are doing, I don't use this model, but a lot of people are posting working papers, and they're working off of a working paper type model. But it is a definite challenge in terms of getting through the publication cycle.
What role should technology play in the dispersal of communication research? Should media other than printed journals count towards tenure?
The bottom line is that faculty are going to publish in outlets where they're going to get rewarded, where they're going to get tenure. And so I think that at some institutions, they have a norm that publishing at conferences is perfectly acceptable, and that allows them to distribute their research that much faster. We don't have that norm at UT Austin, and I don't see that changing anytime in the near future.
I just think it's pretty neat. I mean, you think about all the things that we dreamt about as kids, and in the last 20 years, we've accomplished a lot of them. I mean, you can order pizza from your TiVo, okay? You can program your TiVo from your cell phone, right? It's pretty neat.
Yeah, or you can check your phone messages for your pizza. I mean, following your train of thought.
When I first floated the idea of doing a podcast, I had some professors telling me, Andrew, you got to spend time in grad school doing the important stuff, researching and writing. And I thought to myself, they're right. But to me and Andy, this was important to us. Carrie Stevens studies technology, and we felt it was important that we use a technological aspect to get our ideas out there. And, let it be known, we are busy. Andy and I spend almost our entire days writing, researching, collecting data, interviews. We barely have a spare minute to put together this podcast. So, anyway, whose turn is it? Mine? Bachi, what do you say when you score a point?